Well, you see it. You see what happened. Welcome back first. Thank you for coming. If you're new, thank you for joining us. Hit that like, hit the subscribe. If you hit the dislike, let me know. But let's get into some what we do know. What we do know is today, as it sits, Red Bull has pole position. Not only in the sprint did they have pole position, but now because they won the sprint, they have pole position at the Imola GP tomorrow, Sunday. We're going to talk about the updates. What teams brought updates? What did they bring? And did it even matter? All right, so we're going to start with Merc. We already know Mercedes is definitely been on a, I don't want to say a downward spiral, but they've been definitely struggling, still struggling. Now, they did bring some updates. Last time we thought they were going to bring some to Melbourne. They did not. They did bring updates this time to Imola. I'm gonna reserve what I have to say as a blanket statement for all teams towards the end. So right now we'll individually go into these teams and talk about some of those things. So as it sits, Mercedes, some small aero tweaks have been brought to the W13 this weekend. A turning vane has been added ahead to the side pod inlet design to improve cooling efficiency. The aero shroud around the upper impact beam has been reprofiled. The edge of the diffuser nearest the rear tire has been reduced, curl designed to reduce airflow separation in that region. All these things that these particular updates that Mercedes made are about airflow and aero. Well, definitely to take advantage of that, you need a good amount of airflow. I will say that perhaps the wet conditions that we've seen during practice, during qualifying in Imola, which definitely brought out a lot of red flags. We saw Carlos spin out, wreck the car. We saw Charles spin out quite a bit during that, but maybe there is some real-time data that could have been seen that maybe on a clear sunny day with no mist in the air that would not have been seen. Maybe some of this mist in the air as the Mercedes car was going through, they can kind of see how the air was forming and developing and coming off of the car given these updates that they implemented. All those speeds heavily reduced, not the tire selection they would have wanted to run, especially as it progressed through in the day in Imola. They were able to, as the rain kind of started to give a little bit, they were able to put on some slicks and get out there, but still not run at full potential. As we see today, track was dry, so teams were definitely in a new condition and basically still learning, right? Because the cars were locked in. You couldn't make much changes. So you were just basically trying to make aerodynamic changes to tame whatever you may have had or not had in today's situation with the sprint. So Mercedes, nothing there, I think, as far as their updates, what we may have been looking for. We may have been looking for a totally new design on floor, a new design on the wing package, maybe something to do that was going to give more power. But right now, does Mercedes need more power given that they can't really put down what they already are dealing with? We do know they're not the fastest car on the track, but they are the most reliable car thus far on the track that is in the top 5 outside of today, with Max collecting the points, Perez collecting the points, Ferrari collecting the points. I do think Mercedes will no longer be number 2 in driver and constructor championship points as they have been up until now. They were number 2. That will not be the case anymore with Red Bull collecting what they've collected, and I think they're going to collect more tomorrow in the GP. So let's go down to Red Bull. Let's see what kind of updates they brought. A winglet has been added to the Red Bull's floor ahead of the T-tray area for the front of the floor. Cooling capacity of rear brakes has been increased. Some mechanical components such as the brake calipers and lighter. Yeah, that's quite interesting that they are also doing some things to their brakes. They are also doing to their floor, making designs to the floor. And I already thought that Red Bull had a pretty good floor design. I think they're also improving that floor design. And is that something that maybe we'll talk about later as we come to the next team? Is that something that maybe we saw that was useful today? Maybe these updates were useful because as we come down to Ferrari next on updates, no updates reported. All right. But no, basically they said that they didn't need to bring any updates. And with that, with the current situation as it sits, no, they didn't. They're the fastest car right now in Formula One on the grid. Hands down, right? Up until now. They are the fastest car. So they didn't feel fit to bring any updates because Nobody's really close to us right now. We're number one. We're running. We have enough room probably right now to do enough research and development before we implement anything. We have a package that's working and it's winning. So are we going to spend a lot of time developing something? Well, I think they're spending the time developing. I don't think they're wasting their time in half-ass developing it to implement it, to then see that it might not work, to go back and try to work on it again. They have the space and the cushion to keep developing something until they think and for sure have it right. But with that also being the case with the situation outcoming today, is Red Bull overtook Ferrari in the final laps of the sprint. Now, we do know it's only 20 some odd laps in the sprint today, right? We've seen Red Bull beyond 20 laps. The car is unreliable. It has proven unreliable. The Red Bull team, sister team, Red Bull as a whole, has proven unreliable throughout this entire season. There's not been a race where Red Bull or AlphaTauri has not run into something where they had to DNF the car, retire the car. So 20 laps is not a good sample size for us to see if Red Bull's car is now going to start looking reliable. I'm not going to even call it reliable until maybe they make a few races and it shows that it's reliable. So tomorrow we could see a totally different picture, right? Ferrari I think it would be highly crazy to be at Dino Ferrari's track and Ferrari not take a 1 and 2, a 1 and 3, 2 and 3, not crowd the podium. They did not bring updates. Hopefully this does not bite them in the ass. I think it shows a potential that this could bite them in the ass. Red Bull's made some changes to their floor, so they've improved upon something that definitely aerodynamically and power-wise is sound right now, right? Now, as far as reliability, that's something else, right? If they work that out, then Ferrari has they might have some problems. We'll see that. I'll say that because I'm objective. Like, although I don't support Max used to be, he was my third favorite driver between him and Vettel. After his personality and characteristic situations, I just kind of was like, nah, I can't fuck with you with that. But as a driver and as Red Bull is a competitive team, you can't knock that. I mean, if you knock it, you're not being objective and you're not being real. And I do still understand that because somebody doing what they did and then acting the way they act can drive a person to be like, I don't give a damn, fuck them. So let's go down to McLaren. They add the gurney flat, which was clearly, you could see that gurney was up there on that front. Has been trimmed. What is it described as a circuit-specific balance? McLaren also improved today with the sprint being considered. They improved. They were up there. It was good to see some orange, in the top 10 running around, top 5. Daniel a little definitely lower than Norris, than Lando. There was some separation between the two, but there also was some separation between Charles and Carlos, which I really didn't think would be there like that. So Red Bull crowded the podium today. Believe 1, 2, 3. So Red Bull first, Charles second, Perez third, Red Bull crowds the podium. I would have thought it would have been the other way around. Ferrari crowds the podium. Red Bull gets one of those spots, but it was not that way. Alpine, a new floor is being trialed on Fernando Alonso's car, which Alonso had some issues today. He was overtaken a few times today. Although he's going to put up a fight, he was overtaken a few times today as well. Oh, real nice at that one point in time. I want to say it was by Perez or Carlos. Real nice overtake right there coming down. So they bring that floor edges have been reshaped. The redirected airflow works in concert with revised onboard ends of the beam of the wing. So that right there. So on that page, the only team that we have did not report or do any updates is Ferrari. Next, going down to AlphaTauri. Quite extensive updates on this car. With a new floor and front brake ducts together with realigned tuning vanes, fully exploit the new floor. Part of the leading edge of the floor has been increased in height, which the team claims gives more load across the full range of the ride height. AlphaTauri also with part of the Red Bull, basically Red Bull sister team, showing that they also have some reliability issues. Not as much as the Red Bull brother team, but Gasly also running into issues today. Not entirely his fault at all. Car comes across, I believe it was Guan Yu Zhou, comes across, damages the AlphaTauri car. Luckily, Gasly was not damaged to the point that he could not get into box. They changed out the tire, changed out the front wing, and allowed him to get back out there on the track. So that was a benefit to them to not have to retire the car, and definitely for damages not to be so extensive that they were going to be missing a car like Haas was some races back, missing Mick Schumacher, and then basically Kevin Magnussen out there himself, although he held his own. Let's get down to Aston Martin, which has been one of these teams that definitely looks sad right now, not only as a team, because I thought Aston was going to do a bit better this season. They're struggling as well. But I think there's some struggles in Vettel. Mentally, I think Vettel is struggling. I'm not sure if we're going to see Vettel beyond 2024. I don't think Vettel makes it to 2026. Doesn't seem quite the Vettel that we're used to seeing, even off of his high. I thought Vettel was way more competitive a couple of seasons back since the changeover. I know last season we were like, that big whole thing that was going on with Ferrari definitely wasn't there. We knew there was going to be a break there, and then he broke, and he comes to Aston Martin, and I figured, hey, it's going to be a new breath of fresh air for Vettel. He's going to kick up, and or Vettel, however you want to say it. You know how I do with names here, so don't clown me. It's not that I don't know how to pronounce it right, but I'm not going to ruin my flow to do so. Now Sky Sports, ESPN, Formula One, y'all want to put me on? Trust me, your boy Jay Wolfpack, I'll do it all the way season. Trust that. I'll throw the sauce in that shit. But right now I'm on Wolfpack, and I'm gonna do what the hell I want to do. So yeah, Vettel, one of my favorite drivers. I hate that this may be the case for him, but Aston Martin Halo Winglet last race in Bahrain has been reintroduced, so they brought that back. The emphasis on the track is downforce rather than low drag. The changed length of the mirror side pod stay is part of this package. Floor mounting stays have been moved forward in attempt to reduce the porpoising. So as you see, other teams dealing with porpoising, so they're trying to find that balance, try to rid it altogether if they can, but if not altogether, minimize it as much as possible. Okay, and I don't believe this is the only team that was also doing something to get a bit of support with the side mirrors. I think the other team that was doing something with side mirrors was Mercedes, and of course, I think we had Alpine with a gearbox change. We had some exhaust changes and some floor changes that also were reported today of the sprint. So moving on down to Williams. And boy, oh boy, Williams, what a weekend it has thus far been for Williams, all right? So with their changes they bring, the rear wing has been revised with a different load between main plane and flap to give more efficient downforce. Top wishbone forward leg has revised shrouding for aero benefits. This revised front brake duct arrangement reducing the cooling effect for the expedited weather conditions. And they failed, all right? They also... It's not reported in here because I don't think they consider it an update. It's more of a reduction. They ran less paint on the car to try to get the benefits of reducing the weight, but I by far think that was not the worst thing that they are the most priority thing they needed to tend to. This braking situation that occurred with Albon during qualifying was quite horrific. It's not the first time we've seen this. Latifi already was doing his job to try to wreck the car as much as he could, but Albon literally, his brake explodes on the track during qualifying, and basically it does DNF the car, although he was able to get the car back to the pit so that they can get it off track, and they had debris that they had to come out and pick up. But that was a horrible situation, and it also lends me to believe maybe they didn't learn enough on the first situation to not have it again happen, because it happens again, and that's not doing very well, especially that happens to the driver in Albon that is going to be the better driver of the team thus far, being proven to be, because Latifi is Crash Tifi, as he always is. And I think outside the money, the seat, they really need to consider, is it worth the money, or do you really want to try to be competitive, or has Williams settled into not being that competitive? Let's try to get as much money as we can, and whenever we have the opportunity to be competitive, we will. Maybe that's what happens. Now going down to Alfa Romeo, the engine cover and the Coke bottle area have been reprofiled to improve airflow ahead of the rear tires, enhancing diffuser performance. The geometry around the front of the floor and also been modified to improve airflow. The rear brake ducts have been redesigned for more efficient cooling and enhanced aero. A lot of aero changes with Alfa Romeo. Unfortunate day for them today, as Guan Yu Zhou ends up retiring the vehicle. Bottas is out there on his own, but Alfa Romeo, I don't really No, it's like you show glimpse of promises and then they have these withdrawals. They're definitely one of the bottom teams right now, mid to bottom teams, given that Williams and right now, I can't even say Haas, but Aston Martin and McLaren will kind of, are holding them up. And then, in Formula One, if you're not progressing, you're backing, you're falling back. All right. There's no standing still and resting your laurels, as we saw with Ferrari. They didn't bring any changes today. Was that the reason why they ended up getting caught by Red Bull at the end and being surpassed? Will this also happen tomorrow, given the Red Bull car can stay reliable? Will this show that Ferrari needs to bring about some changes? They have now been caught. You've been standing still and it's paid off because you were the fastest, but now is the rest of the grid starting to catch up? So now is it time to implement these changes and then make further progressions and more productivity and get more speed and more aero balance out of the car and make the car faster? They already have a good package because they're leading, but you can't stand still in Formula One. Haas coming up next, revised floor edge to address porpoising issue. And that is pretty much what we have right there. All right. So there are the updates for this week, Imola in Italy for the Dino Ferrari track. Next week, we are going to be in Miami. So I'm thinking about popping bottles. You see, got the new scene, new set here, performance talk up. We're looking real lavish. I might bring some bottles to pop Miami, like literally. I might have bottles. So you need to be on Finale Lap. Finale Lap is a series that I run post the race, and we talk about everything that happened. We talk shit, have a good time, debate, but it might be some liquor involved on the next Finale Lap, so you don't want to miss that. Plus, also, I have the VIP boxes that people have the opportunity to earn when they do super chats or stickers, and you cannot buy these boxes. There are a lot of things I put in this box. A lot of stuff goes into it. When you open it, there are other things for you to see as an award winner of the VIP box, and there are also items that I'm not going to keep going into it. The way you get to know what's in the VIP box is every live or premiere, or maybe I might just make it every live, there will be a trailer that explains the VIP box, explains how you get it, explains what's in it, but there may be a couple of surprises that, might come your way. All right, so I think we spent enough time on this. I'm really looking forward to the GP tomorrow. Today's sprint throughout the population of viewers was said to be boring. It had its moments. There wasn't a lot of exchange. I don't know if all the teams were in it. I don't know if maybe the conditions in Imola that impacted them being able to grab enough data and make changes to the car lended to this lack of excitement in a race, because technically it's a miniature race. Right now, Ferrari and Red Bull in front of the grid. We will see what happens. Carlos needs to join Charles as soon as possible. I'm going to tell you, these are my predictions. I think McLaren, if Daniel can come up and join Lando, maybe take 5th, 5, 6. I think Ferrari, still, I have hope in them, and they're at the Ferrari track. Do not let Red Bull come in your fucking house and outdo you. I'm looking for Ferrari to do a 1, 2, 1, 3. One spot to be filled by Red Bull, the 4th spot to be another Red Bull, and then I'm thinking that maybe we see McLaren, and depending on situations that may happen, I just got to keep it real. I'm hoping to see Mercedes at least be top 10, at least to get into points. With the performance that we saw both in the sprint and qualifying, I mean, we're talking about 11 and 14, Russell 11, Hamilton 14. I got to be objective and be real with what I'm seeing, all right? The eye test and the data that I'm seeing does not say Mercedes is a top 5 team. I'm saying I would just like to see them make top 10 to stay in points contention, as they were 2, driver and constructor, no longer, and definitely no longer after tomorrow. Can they at least stay in that fight? Can they stay in that fight? At least stay in that fight. It's not much of a fight when it comes to Mercedes history, but that is way better than sinking out of just everything, just being in the drop zone of Formula One and just dropping the hell off the face of the earth. Does this maybe Mercedes has a Ferrari situation? Like, Ferrari dropped the fuck off. They were nobody last season after that investigation. Nobody. Maybe Mercedes goes through that this season in 2023. We see a totally different beast, right? So we'll see what happens. I really appreciate you all being around. Those are the updates. Just wanted to bring that to you. I know some people asked me to do that, and I like to facilitate these requests for you all to let you know that I'm in touch with you as viewers, and I definitely listen and I respond. As you know, I try to work my way through all of my comments, respond to you all to some degree. It takes a lot of time because I have the social media platforms with Instagram, then Twitter, but I try to give all of you my time to try to show you that I appreciate what you do. Be here tomorrow for Finale Lap live. We're going to be live. Finale Lap is after the race. We have a good time. You don't want to miss it. Share it. The link will be up today for you to share that for other people to join. Peace. Just build it. I'm out. Thanks for tuning in and watching another video here at Wolfpack Performance. Check out some of my other content on Formula One issues, our topics, and our DIY products on how to customize your vehicle. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.